All right, question 3. As you can see, it is from a past exam paper. It's a really good question because it does test a whole lot of different understanding of terminologies. All right, as you do these short answer questions, it's really important to underline key ideas. Now, the question is, does it matter that the signal molecule is called epinephrine or adrenaline? No, it doesn't, because you might be given a molecule that you've never heard of. So that's not important parts. Although, having just been through our work that we did on adrenaline, you know a little bit about it. Here is what we have here. We're told it is a signal molecule transported in the bloodstream and initiates responses in cells somewhere else. So that's the key things. It doesn't really matter its name or where it comes from. To which group of signaling molecules does epinephrine belong to? Now, the groups of signal molecules are hormones, neurotransmitters, cytokines, and pheromones. Not protein, carbohydrate, lipid. So what group of signal molecules? The answer, of course, should be hormones. And the reason you know that is because this transported in the bloodstream. If you wrote endocrine, hormones, that's absolutely fine. Hormones is a must. The endocrine is even better because of the bloodstream part. All right, now we're told a bit more. Receptors for this thing are found on the exterior surface of the plasma membrane. What does this suggest about the nature? Now, when we're talking about the nature, we're talking about the properties of this particular hormone. We know if it's on the exterior surface, it is a water-soluble hormone. You could have written that it is a protein, because that is true. You could have written it is hydrophilic. That was accepted. We tend to use the words water-soluble, lipid-soluble, but hydrophilic, hydrophobic is okay as well in this context. Also, hydrophilic, lipophilic. So when we go back to our pictures, let me just go, there we are. When we go back to our pictures here, that beautiful picture that we did our summary on, talk amongst yourselves. There we go. No, wrong one. Next page. This one here, when we talk about water soluble, you can call this hydrophilic. You can call this one hydrophobic. And you might see that in some situations. This could be called lipophilic. That means lipid liking or lipid soluble. And this is lipophobic. They're just words. I would not use that word. Either of these is fine to use, but I would not use lipophobic as a word. Again, I think water-soluble and lipid-soluble is a better terminology to use in these contexts. All right, so let's go back to our question. Here we are, back to it. All right. So as it says, the properties or the nature of that. All right, so here we've now got a really interesting scenario. 2 examples of cells, so they're different cells that respond to the same hormone. And here they are. And if you have a look at the left-hand side, we've got smooth muscle cells in the lungs. This same hormone is attaching to a membrane receptor. That's meant to be showing a membrane receptor. And what we get is a response. That same hormone in liver cells attaches to a membrane receptor, which will be the same shape. But this time, the response is different. All right, that's what that picture should show you. You need to pick up that the fact that it was the same hormone, just different cells. How the describe the means put a little bit of information, how after the attachment of the molecule to a receptor can bring about a response within the cell. So here we're talking about the signal molecule attaches to membrane receptor, which activates a secondary messenger and then we have the signal transduction in the cell, because that's what it's about, within the cell, by activating a cascade, if you like, or series of enzymes. So for this, it was the two aspects had to be mentioned, because we're talking about what is happening from the attachment. So it's talk about activation of the secondary messenger system or secondary messages, and then the activation of the series of enzymes to go through. And that's what's happening in both cells. All right, so now how can this same hormone produce different responses? Now, a lot of students were saying they have different receptors. It's the same hormone. It's epinephrine or adrenaline. So the receptor that is sitting on the smooth muscle is the same receptor that is sitting on the liver cell membrane, because it's an adrenaline receptor. So it's not about the receptor. Then you could ask, well, is it the secondary messengers? Well, no, because the secondary messengers are the same. That G protein activation in the membrane is the same. So the difference comes about by a different series of enzymes in the cytosol, or cytoplasm, cytosol, are activated in each cell type. Because a smooth muscle cell will have a different set of inactive enzymes in the cytosol compared to a liver cell. That's what makes them different. They have their different proteome, and part of that proteome are the enzymes that are in the cytosol. So it's a different signal transduction that is going to be happening. That's what's going to cause it, that series of enzymes activated down that pathway.